All right, guys, we are here with a very special guest today. I'm going to let this young man introduce himself.
Yes, my name is Jay Tinker. I'm the newly hired coach at Gadsden City Girls Varsity Basketball.
Coach Tinker, you have been around the Gadsden. You've been in the Gadsden City school system for how many years now?
21 altogether. My first couple of years were back in 1998, 98, 99, and then I left for a few years and came back in 2004. And I've been, back since 2004.
Okay. Yes, I think you started when I was a senior. When I was a senior in high school, so you've been around for a long time. Most people don't know, you've been assistant coach with the girls basketball team and coach Jeremy Brooks for several years. But just tell us about Coach Tinker. Tell us about you. Just tell us about what you've gone through to get to this position.
Well, first thing is out of high school, I went to Gadsden High School. I graduated and went to the military. I was in the United States Navy for like 7 years. Then after that, I came back, and that's when I started working at the high school. Did teacher aide for a few years, and went back to college on and off, and finally got my degree to be able to teach math. So I've been teaching math. Throughout that time, I've coached. I started off coaching boys basketball first, back in 1998. And then after I coached boys, man, when I left and came back, I think one of the assistant coaches, which is our assistant superintendent now, man, he came to me and said, hey, I think he was going to be the principal, so he couldn't coach. And he was like, won't you get with Coach Brooks? Man, I knew Coach Brooks. We had played against each other in high school because he was at Emma Sampson, but I had never worked with him. So it was doing one teaching in service one year. I think it was maybe 2006, 2006. And me and Coach Brooks got together, and man, I had been with him ever since, that year, being assistant coach. I had a lot of different roles. Me and him started our feeder program together. I was kind of like over player development. So, I had a lot of different roles throughout the year. For probably the last 8 years, Coach Brooks allowed me to do something that I probably couldn't do. I did all the subbing. For like 8 to 10 years, I did the subbing. Now, we talked about it, prior to it, but man, I'm the one put them in, took them out. So that's, for me, that was something I'd never seen before. Head coach allow assistant coach to sub, but I did. And when Coach retired, I really, these girls we got 6 seniors this year. It's a senior heavy team, except man, those seniors we have, it's only 2 of them that has a lot of playing experience, varsity playing experience. A couple of other ones, one, a late starter. A couple of them played JV as juniors. So only 2 of the seniors got some playing experience, varsity playing experience. But most of the girls on the team, the 12th graders, the 11th graders, we got about 10 on the varsity. And man, I've pretty much coached all of them since they were 4th or 5th grade. Like I said, they were in our feeder program that we started and going to continue. So I just felt like, I was a good fit for, moving in with the girls that, that I already have a relationship with. And, in the board of education and the principal, Mr. Guttis, they gave me the opportunity to be the head coach here.
Yeah. So let's talk about that feeder program because, anybody in Gadsden that's kind of kept up with that know that feeder program has been very successful. Mm-hmm. Going to the state tournaments every year and winning the state tournament and competing in the state tournament. So just kind of tell us how that got started with you, Coach Brooks.
What we did the first year we did it, we sent a letter to all the PE coaches. Mm-hmm. And at the time we were looking for 4th grade girls going to the 5th grade. Mm-hmm. And we said, if there's any athletic girl that you have, give us the name and we'll contact her. We're trying to start a basketball team. And, you know, all the elementary school teachers, they gave us, I think, 10 names. One thing that was a big deal to me is out of all the 10 names that they gave us, man, all the girls had birthdays after September. Mm. So there was something that kind of, you know, they played 10 and under the first year, but they were 11. They had turned 11 because their birthdays were after September 1st. Right. So, you know, we kind of looked at it and said, man, one reason why they're more athletic is because they're older. You know what I mean? So that's, you know, that's how we first got started. Mm-hmm. You know, we had that team. Well, at the time, those 5th graders, I was working at a summer camp. I did 21st Century. And I had a 2nd grader going to the 3rd grade. Mm-hmm. Well, in the camp, it was about 4 or 5 little girls her same age that I knew their parents. And all of them were athletes. Yeah. And their kids were athletes. And we was like, well, we're going to be starting this one, so let's start this one. So we ended up having a 10 and under, which they were 11. Right. And then we had an 8 and under team, which was 2nd grade, going to 3rd grade. But at the time, the city didn't have an 8 and under league. Right, okay. So they played up. So we had 2 teams that first year in the 10 and under. We had an old 10 and under team and a young 10 and under team. Yeah. And the young 10 and under team, the old ones kind of looked out for them. Like if it was a team that took advantage of them, when they played the other team, the 10 and under, they took it out on them. So, you know, it was very interesting that year. Pretty much every year we do it. All of the, you know, varsity and JV coaches have some type of input on practicing. We usually practice them twice a week. Like I said, all the varsity coaches, everybody. If you don't have a team, you there at practice. This year we'll have pretty much my middle school coach, she'll have a team. One of my assistant coaches will have a team. And the other coaches, you know, will be there for practice. And what we do every year is we have an 8, a 10, and a 12. And, you know, after the first year, the next year, we you know, we had an 8 and a 10, where the ones that was 10, they went on up to 12. The one that was 8, they went up to 10, and then we got some new 8 and under. So now we do 3 teams. We do an 8 and under, a 10 and under, and a 12 and under. This past year, we had to get 2 12s. We did like a showcase. We took our varsity players around to all the middle schools, trying to get some interest for middle school girls to try out for basketball. Right. Because we needed about, for our 12 and under team, it was a little short. We needed about 4 or 5. So, man, we generated a little more excitement than we expected. We had a trial, and man, we had like 80-something girls show up. Oh, wow. 86 graders. Wow, that's a lot. So, I mean, we only need 4 or 5. Yeah. So, I mean, we couldn't, so we had to get another team so we could get more kids, you know. So, that's for the feeder. I mean, I really feel like here in Gadsden, if your high school athletics is not involved in your feeder program, you're not going to be successful, in my opinion. Right. You know, so that's something that we're going to continue to do. Right, and that's something that, you know, the programs that are in the Final Four every year, competing for championships every year, that's something that they have, and that's good that, you know, you guys started that, and that's going to be a good thing in the long run for the city of Gadsden to have, you know, that much interest in basketball, which I feel like basketball's been big in Gadsden. You know, people think football is king in Gadsden, but basketball is right up there too with football because we've had some very good teams come through before consolidation and even after consolidation. And speaking on that, on the girls' side, y'all have had a lot of success. Talk to us about that success that y'all have had, you know, here at Gadsden City. Right. Well, like I said, I've been with Coach Brooks. I wasn't there with him the first year. I was working in the school system, but I wasn't coaching the girls at that time. You know, that was the first year. A lot of people said that, you know, they had, when they first combined the schools, you know, they had 3 varsity teams coming to one. So, I mean, you're looking at, you know, they had 12 or 13 girls on the varsity, all of them with varsity experience. You know, some of them, you the 9th or 10th man now, and you the best player on your team. So, you know, that's what started the success. I think after those years, man, it was just a big deal that those 3 programs were successful, and they fed in some girls into it to start it off to get it going. And then, you know, after it got going, you know, each year, man, you know, it would pass down to, man, they wanted to live up to the expectations of the people that went before them. You know, that's what we're trying to do now is generate the excitement again for girls basketball. You know, we had a lot of runs. We just could never get over the Hoovers. You know, we couldn't, you know, we would, you know, a few years we did get over them. I think one year Hoover beat us. They had their leading scorer was a girl that transferred to Hoover. Well, she asked about coming to Gadsden City. Really? If she would have came to Gadsden City, there could have been a different. But she ended up at Hoover, so there could have been a different Hoover beat us in Jacksonville that year. Okay. You know, it was a close game. I think they beat us by maybe 5-10 points. But as the years go on, you know, we would do good in the area. We would do good once we get to the region, man. We would run into, you know, teams that would have, I think one Hoover team that beat us, I mean, they would have, they could beat a couple of junior colleges. I mean, they had 4 or 5 Division I players on their team, and we couldn't compete with that, you know, with that competition. You know, so that's kind of, you know, the success that we've been having. You know, it's, you know, they reclassify every 3 years, and it seems like we always get put in a, you know, in a tough region, you know, and that's good, what we want, you know. To be the best, you got to beat the best. So that's what we're looking at, trying to get over that hump. Haven't been to Jacksonville in the last few years, trying to get over that hump to get back, you know, going down to 6A. It gives it that extra game, you know, to get to the Jacksonville, because 7A, you know, if you run up for your area, you know, you automatically go to the regions, you know, so now you have to go to that sub-region game, man. It's different, you know. You have to go on and really compete.
All right, so you know, back in the spring, we towards the end of basketball season, actually, we did a video with you and your daughters and whatnot. You know, some coaches, you know, find it tough coaching their kids, and some kids find it tough, you know, being coached by their parents. But you and your daughters seem like y'all have a good relationship, a good dynamic. So just tell us about coaching Anjanae, which just graduated, and Madison. Tell us about how it is coaching your daughters.
Well, it's like I said, I've been doing it a long time. Madison since kindergarten. Anjanae since, like I said, it's that feeder time, 7th grade, going to the 3rd grade. I had an older daughter that played basketball as well up until the 11th grade. And so I had some experience with coaching my own child. Now, with the older one, she stopped playing because it wasn't, man. One time I remember she was on the JV and I'm coaching it, and I said something to her. She got mad, went in the locker room and left. So I had some experience with coaching her. I had to have some. It's one of those things where sometimes you're too hard on your own child. Some people say, okay, you're too hard on your own child, or you can be too easy on them. And that's a battle that you run into as a coach. Okay, am I too hard on them? Am I too easy on them? And how I am, I probably lean a little more as being too hard. I had some assistant coaches with me that were my friends and would say, hey, you know, I got kids too, and man, you're not judging your child the same way you judge the other one. And you know, as a parent, I think you put a lot on your kids. One reason is because, man, there's always that buzz that, they just playing because they the coach's kids. You know, so you have to make sure that, man, the coach's kids have to do extra. You know, you're going to get that ridicule about, man, you don't deserve to be out there. You just out there because your parent is the coach. What they call a daddy ball. Daddy ball. You know what I mean? So that was one of the issues where, you know, we took that and, you know, tried to decide, you know, am I being too hard? Am I not? But once y'all make the commitment as you want to do, you're going to have to do extra. That was one thing that we decided. Still now, though, and, you know, we have an open relationship with both of them. They tell me, you know, like, when you get on tours, they have to kind of think about it as the coach getting on to them versus daddy getting on to them. And that was a thing to where it was, you know, it was hard for them to understand that, hey, this is not daddy, this coach. Some things we do is, you know, one thing I do is, man, I treat them like the other players as far as how much we talk about, say, after a game. Mm-hmm. You know, after the game, and we don't talk about what they did wrong after the game. Right? We leave because I don't get to talk to the other players about it. Right. So I treat them as we're not going to talk about what you did wrong or didn't do wrong after the game. We're going to let that. Now we're going to talk about it, just not now. Right. You know what I mean? So I think that was one of the big things that helped us as, you know, because they would tell me, you know, Dad, you know, if we play out of town and if we're riding in cars and they ride home, they got to hear it all the time. You know, they got to hear, well, you did this, you did that. So that was one thing that I kind of made an adjustment is don't talk about basketball all the time. Right. You know, so.
Right. Because that's a surefire way to have your kids get burnt out. Mm-hmm. You know. Mm-hmm. So like I said, that was one of my most fun interviews with you and your daughters. It was just really good. Let's kind of fast forward a little bit to now. You guys have been working out this summer, going to some play dates and whatnot. So just kind of talk to us about the team you're going to put on the court this year and some of the things y'all have done this summer and what kind of progress you've made.
Well, we this year, probably since I've been here, man, and like you said, we're working, man. We're doing something different than we did in the past. And the reason what I'm saying is, man, we're giving them July off. And this is probably the first year where you got flag football that came into the mix. Mm-hmm. Man, this is the first year that we have multiple girls doing other sports. You know, we got some that's playing up to 4 sports. Wow. You know, volleyball, basketball, flag football, cheerleading. Wow. You know, different. So, man, the dynamics has changed on as much as that we can do with them in the summer. Man, we played 3 play dates, and I kind of staggered them. As far as what I mean by stagger them is with the competition level, I think we did Gunnersville play dates for the first one. We did Fairfield second, Spartan third, and you know, nothing against Gunnersville, it was just smaller schools, you know, good smaller schools, you know, but we counted because we didn't practice a lot. So this play dates we was looking at, man, really looking at, man, how we want to play as far as, you know, defensively. Are we going to press? Are we going to press some? Are we going to press all the time? So, you know, we took those 9 games and, man, did a lot of different things to get it on film to see what we want to do. After those play dates, man, we do what we call open gym. And what that is, man, I give them a amount of time that they supposed to make, and we basically work on some strength and conditioning and mostly player development as far as skills, you know, developing skills. So that's where we at now, and still with my, you know, got my coaching staff in place now, and we watching film and deciding, you know, what's our strengths, what's our weaknesses, and you know what direction we want to go as far as our scheme and game plan. So that's what we're in the process of now.
Okay. Speaking on your coaching staff, I was about to jump on that. So you've been able to fill out your coaching staff. Can you tell us who you got on your coaching staff?
Well, the first big pickup was Sean Huff. Sean Huff, like I said, he has head coaching experience with girls. You know, he coached the Litchfield girls. I think he coached Westbrook girls. You know, so that was a really good pickup for us to get Sean on the staff. Also, we have 2 teachers here at the school, 2 female teachers, Miss Bothwell and Miss Maness. You know, Miss Bothwell played basketball, you know, back when she's from Asheville. She played basketball. She hadn't did a lot of coaching in a while, but man, to me, it's an advantage to have females on your staff and at the school. You know what I mean? So having 2 females on staff at the school, man, is really big for us. So, you know, that's what we're looking at right now. And I got maybe 1 more that I'm in the process of trying to see how we can work something out with that one.
Okay. Good deal. Good deal. Sounds like you got everything under control. So going into the season, can you talk about some of the teams you've got scheduled this upcoming season?
Yes, we pretty much obviously we're in the area with Oxford and Fort Payne. I think if you look at what's coming back from all three teams, I mean, to me, I think it's a toss up on who would be. I would probably say Oxford is the forerunner to be the area champ right now because they won it last year. They lost a few people, but I mean they still got some pieces. Us in Fort Payne, we lost one person, but hey, you never know. Obviously we play those teams.
Right.
Some of the other teams, we got some smaller teams that Plainview, but also we went and scheduled some different teams. We got we're playing here at Trustful. We got Huffman. We went and put Huffman on the schedule. We got Clay Chalkville. We got, let me see who was the other one that we picked up. We were supposed to play Bob Jones, but we couldn't get the dates right. Who else we got? We're playing Parker this year. So, we're trying to, I really went after, last year, we lost in the sub-region game to, in my opinion, a inferior opponent, Shades Valley. And I think it was because we hadn't played those type of teams all year, so we really looked at going to Birmingham because that's what we crossed with. We crossed with Birmingham. So, looking ahead, we want to play those type of teams.
Right.
Nothing against some of the other teams. It's just if you're not used to playing teams that play a certain way, you need to play those teams.
Right.
And I mean that's why a lot of teams that we play us because of how we play. We play in a way that the teams they need to be played. So
Right.
That's what we doing. We in tournaments we got this time, and we're gonna play in the Anniston tournament. Also, we got going up to Hartsel. We're gonna play in a Hartsel tournament for Thanksgiving.
Okay.
And we're gonna do an Anniston. And we're gonna do Hoover tournament. But man, I only had room for 2 games, and they had 3, so we couldn't get in there.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's not the entire schedule, but that was some of the teams that I can think right off the top of my head that were new type teams. I think we lost a few. Abbeville didn't play, not gonna play us. A couple other teams that that we usually have on the schedule, they didn't want to renew us this time.
Okay. All right. Well, so it's just what are some of your long-term goals for the team? Get some of your goals. Like, where do you want to see the program in, let's say, the next 3 years? What would you like to see?
Well, my biggest thing is, and I think, no knock against what we done before. We had some success. It's just, man, I think my biggest plan is to get our kids recognized more.
Okay.
These last few years, they're saying, well, we hadn't been as competitive. Well, when you look at it, man, we ain't had kids signing scholarships either. You know what I mean?
Right.
So they go hand in hand.
Yeah.
I think we have had some kids that got the ability to do it, but I don't think we've done as good as a job as we can to put them out there. Because one thing that I look at big time is, man, you have some kids, man, because they social media, and then they're not as good as some of the other players, but because they're out there, people see them.
Exactly.
They get recognized. So to answer your question, one of my biggest goals is, man, promoting all of our players from 9th grade on, whether they, I want to promote every one of them like they're a Division I player. Okay. Even if they're not, I want to promote them like they're a Division I player because it's not up to me to decide if this kid can play college or not. I got an input on it, but man, that's to the coaches. Yeah. So we got to put them out there for them to see.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. And with saying that, 6A, man, other than Hazel Green, Hazel Green, that's they're a powerhouse. I mean, they won the last 6 or 7 straight state championships. They're beating all of the powerhouse. They're beating them. So, I mean, they're here, and everybody else is right here.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's one of the things that, you know, you want to be able to compete with those type teams. And the more you play with those top teams, man, it's just gonna raise your. If you play against higher caliber competition, man, it's gonna raise your bar. Mm-hmm. So that's what we're looking at, man. Promoting our kids, you know, getting them excited about being able to go to the next level and compete, and that would make them compete, you know, while they're in high school, I think.
Good deal. Coach, I appreciate you taking out some time today to sit down and talk to us. Good luck this season, first season as head coach, and we look forward to watching some Titan basketball.
All right, and thanks to Average Joe's for having me.
All right.